Welcome to the Tech on Toast podcast. We are the home of hospitality tech. Whether you're an operator wanting to untangle your tech or a technology provider wanting to join our community, we are the largest hospitality tech growth platform on the planet. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to the next episode of the Tech on Toast podcast. Delighted to be joined by David Rigbye, co-founder of Operandio. Did I get that right, David?
Yeah, Operandio.
Operandio. Okay, that's terrible. I can say bad at that. But welcome, mate. What time is it over there?
Yeah, it's 8 p.m. here in Melbourne, Australia. So evening for me. But look, we've got customers all over the world, so we're used to doing early calls, late calls. So we're all over it.
And is it a winter there? Is that right? Am I right to say that?
It is
Are you in the middle of winter?
So yeah, exactly. Melbourne, it's a little bit. It's probably more London weather than you for you being in London. But it's winter at the moment, so I've got the jacket on. Not too pleasant in Melbourne at the moment, but right at the beginning of winter over here.
And before we get into the product, it'd be great to understand a bit about you. So to tell us a little bit about your journey to this point. How did you end up here?
Yeah, great. So look, I'm the founder of Operandio. It's a frontline operations management and compliance software platform. So we actually built the software platform to solve our own problem in our own operating business, which we started in Melbourne, about sort of 5-6 years ago. It's a family entertainment center. One of the challenges that we had, one of the things with family entertainment centers is it's kind of, there are mini businesses within the one business. So there's climbing walls, there's a kitchen, there's playgrounds, there's mini golf. So we were looking for a tool just to help with compliance because there's, equipment checks, climbing wall belays, daily, weekly, monthly checks, but mainly kitchen, obviously food safety compliance, food safety records, daily temp checks and all sorts of food safety records. Looking for a solution, couldn't really find anything at the time built for frontline workers. So people who largely casualized workforce, people that don't have an email address, they don't have a complete computer, they're in the business on the ground. We couldn't really find a solution. So I've got a background in software development, as does my co-founder Paul. We've previously had an agency which we exited a few years ago, and we did things like we built the Emirates Airlines cabin crew portal, some really large, complex sort of software projects. So we said, why don't we just build
let's just build it ourselves.
Let's build something for ourselves. And that's really how we started. So it was quite niche when we started, built around auditing and compliance and checklists. And from there, it sort of expanded, adding features, getting feedback from employees, eventually getting, our first external customers using the system as well. And then obviously getting new feedback and ideas from those customers. And it sort of evolved to what it is today, which is really like an all-in-one operations management platform with a whole range of functionality.
I think it's key, right? Operations is so complex. And I think sometimes when you're looking in from the outside, actually, when you're in the day-to-day and you're doing it, the amount of log-in, log-outs, these people are traveling through different software, different apps, different platforms. Employees are, as you say, can be a little bit unpredictable in the way they access these kind of products as well. They might not have email, they might not want to, they might, all these different reasons why you kind of lose people through the net. And I think what you're doing is you're trying to capture all of that, aren't you, in one place where you've got, I suppose, remaining compliant is absolutely crucial. Obviously, it's a legal entity. But apart from that, the operational, the OPEX side of your business, it keeps that all in track.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, having everything in one spot is important, but also how we deliver the product as well. We've got innovative sort of multi-user access kiosk devices. We know that, especially in food, a lot of people don't really like their employees to be on their cell phones, their mobile phones while they're on shift. Yeah. So we've got a kiosk application. Multiple users can access their own profile using a PIN, which logs them out automatically when they walk away, for example. These days, governments are becoming bloated and the regulations and rules, and this is consistent across all of the markets that we operate in. It's just harder and harder for people to stay on top of records. Using technology like this sort of, we're trying to make it easier for people, especially multi-location businesses where, you're not on the ground in the business physically there, but you need to make sure that you're sort of compliant across the board, across all of your sites.
I saw a stat ages ago actually about employees and training. It was after the pandemic. They were saying they didn't enjoy how training was done anymore. They didn't kind of engage with it, and that I think the first go at online training, done prior to the pandemic, was kind of a touch and hit and miss type thing. How are you guys really kind of delivering that productivity, kind of, because you're enabling people, aren't you, to be able to be more productive because they're not having to log in on various devices and learn in
Yeah,
different
that's
ways?
right. Yeah, great question. Like, look, most of the tools in our platform are sort of built for the worker while they're at work on their shift. We do have a couple of things like our training. We've got a sort of an LMS, learning management solution, built into the system, where that's one of the features that an employee might look at before they start their first shift. So, we've got training modules, and that could be content. It could be video content, imagery, text, quizzes, trying to keep them engaged. It's really built for the mobile phone up, because obviously these days, younger workforce, largely casualized workforce, some of these people don't really have laptops. They've literally just got their phone. So we've built the product with that in mind. So mobile first training courses where they can just pull it up, do an onboarding course. They'll get a score that's sort of sent through to their manager based on which location they've been hired at. And they're coming into their first shift with at least that base level of knowledge. And there's kind of a record stored against their profile. So training is really important. But then also when they're at work we've got a whole range of other functionality that we offer. So for example, there's food safety specific functionality we've really built out over the last 12 months. So in the kitchen, we'll have a food prep labeling printer where people can, use their PIN, log in, spit out some food expiry labels on the printer. They can do the temperature checks using either a Bluetooth probe, or we've even got an automated temperature monitoring system with sensors that you install in your fridges and cooler rooms. Automates that process through to just daily opening, closing checklists. At least digitizing those means you can kind of keep an eye on what's going on. You can have consistent standards. But also for our larger customers, you've just got the records. The saving system. A health inspector might arrive and ask to see a record. You can easily just choose a date range, export, and there you go. You've got your compliance records for the authority of the health.
And I feel like the back of house was the last bastion of tech not paying attention to it. I came out of operations probably about 10 years ago, sorry. And I think it's interesting how back of house was still kind of struggling to be digitized. Like front of house online ordering was happening, all the cool stuff for the cool kids out the front, right? And then in the back, these guys were still struggling doing these bloody checks, and they're kind of
it's kind of funny as well. And also the mentality of old school chefs in the kitchen typically can be resistant to some of this sort of stuff. But the technology has evolved where it actually makes more sense now doing it, digital versus paper. Sometimes paper is simply just easier. But we're at the point now where the product has evolved so much that it actually is going to save you a lot of time if you're going to digitize things, especially with the food prep label printer. That's one thing that consistently 100%. Chefs love. You just basically, things are much more compliant. You're just automating your food expiration. You can.
We used to have ice cream containers. I don't know if you've ever seen them, like ice cream. So we do all fresh food every day. We did in an Italian chain I worked for, and we'd fill it up every day. Ice cream, like literally 90 tubs stacked. For a busy day. And literally sticking the label. And unfortunately, we had people working from different countries, different, language wasn't easy for a lot of the people that were in the kitchens. And we ended up labeling. I mean, God, it was a car crash, right? I mean, no one ever knew properly because no one checked it. But it wasn't great.
And that can be totally automated. Even the person who's doing the preps, because they're logging in with their PIN, we can even print their name on the label on that item, so we know exactly who's done what in the system. All the dates are automated. It's a huge time saver, especially if you're doing massive volume in your kitchen as well.
It's very cool. And I suppose actually having your, what do you call it, the family day center? What do you call it, the family entertainment
entertainment center. So it's kind of like a
like a soft play type thing with
all kinds of walls, mini golf, kitchen. Sort of.
I think it's a great way to test, right? When you're building product, just to be able to have that. I know Vita Mojo, when they built their own restaurants at the start, right? When they were testing their product. Same for you, right? That you kind of make all your mistakes there, I suppose, or do a lot of your learning in your own backyard.
Really good point. And that's how we did start. First couple of years, we'd release features, get feedback. These days, we really love to work with our customers, getting that feedback. And we've got certain customers that are more than happy to volunteer. They're almost, like semi-employees of our business. We're texting them, calling them every day. They're giving us ideas. But that's really how we love to get feedback. I know there are sort of tech companies out there who push back, say no. We really embrace that, because basically our whole product roadmap is built on what customers are asking for. Like who's asking, the most people asking for a certain thing, we'll just do that thing first. It might be.
Yeah, but you two are a nightmare. You've got two developers in charge of a company. Yeah, let's just build it.
Yeah, exactly. And look, it's challenging because obviously we've been trying to, and we're on a mad hiring spree at the moment, trying to hire some more developers. But yeah, that's one of the challenges. But look, typically some stuff could be, something really small and simple, like there's something on a report that's missing that they would like to add.
Yeah,
we will try and add it in like within a couple of days. But then there might be like a big feature request, which if it's not already in the roadmap, we'll definitely consider that. So yeah, these days we really like to work closely with customers on feature requests and that sort of stuff.
And I'm sure, I mean, we mentioned all-in-one, but I'm sure you have to work with other tech partners, as you're kind of evolving and as you grow up, because a lot of people already have tech stacks in place and different providers. How do you guys, have you got flexibility to work with them as well?
Yeah, really great question. Look, I mean, what we find, we've got a whole range of different customer sizes. We work with literally single site operators, cafes, restaurants, bars, through to, massive quick service multi-unit restaurant groups with hundreds of locations and thousands of employees. What we typically find is the bigger they are, the less likely it is that they're going to use every single element of our platform. They might use two big core parts of our system, but then they might use another learning system. So we are sort of building out more integrations. Probably the most common one with our big enterprise customers is integrating with their sort of scheduling, rostering HR systems.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got thousands of employees, and especially in hospitality, people are coming and going almost every day. So you want to sort of automate that user creation. So you'll hire someone, add them to the HR system, that creates a profile in our system, they leave the business, it makes them inactive. So automating that is a kind of a no-brainer, and we'll try and do that for our big enterprise customers. And look, we haven't, that's kind of the main one. Also, the ability to clock in and out of your shift through our app, which pushes the data through to that same scheduling system, is a really big one as well. They're kind of the main ones we've been doing in terms of integrations with other systems. But yeah, again, we get great ideas from customers. We'll definitely consider that.
Yeah, it's an interesting company over here called Yuda, who are kind of automating through WhatsApp or through wherever they think the staff are. So it might be Slack, WhatsApp, Workspace before it disappeared, before it is going to disappear. But and they're kind of linking all of that journey. So they're kind of like all of your friends, and they link you all up, and it's all done through the employee drives that action. So they'll onboard through WhatsApp. Straight away they kick back through a link. I should introduce you, but it's interesting what they're trying to do, and it's a journey, but requires all the partners to play nicely. So I think it's probably longer winded than I'm explaining. But
it's a challenge because people have got different devices that they're using different apps to communicate. So it is a headache to try and streamline this stuff. So that sounds like a really good idea.
Are you going to replace Workspace then? Not entirely, but I suppose what you do, you're able to kind of fill that gap for a lot of people. 600,000 workers.
We do. Yeah. Obviously, like a Workspace. Are you talking about the Facebook?
Yeah.
So that's probably more of a white collar platform. I know it can be adapted to food businesses, but essentially we are like a food version of Workspace, and we are we're signing a lot more franchise businesses as well, who are sort of using it as a franchise communication management system as well. Like communicated across the network. You might have a new policy that you need to send out to your a certain group of employees. Send that out. You can track readership. You can force reader confirmation to make sure that people are acknowledging and reading certain policies and doing certain training. So that's all part of the system as well. I suppose it is, a really basic way to describe it is, a frontline version of Workspace.
Yeah, because over here, I think the stat was 600,000 workers are on that platform at the moment in hospitality communicating.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, huge. So like Honest Burger were literally on LinkedIn the other day asking, can someone help us? And I was like, wow. So it's like there are 50 site locations.
And there you go. Yeah, I mean, that's massive. And a big part of Workspace, I'm assuming, is the communication aspect.
It's exactly that. It's sharing schedules in groups, all that kind of stuff. So that's where they kind of hang out.
Yeah, so we do have a communications module. You can send messages out to the network. You can attach policies. You can embed things like that. And we've got really great ideas on how to sort of make it more of a group chat. But we do have lots of customers that are using that in addition to like a group chat where they're talking about swapping shifts. This is more like important top-down information that they need to distribute across their network and track readership and compliance of those messages. So
It's huge though, isn't it? That comms piece, because I was about to ask the next question really about the real benefits of kind of your product. But the reality is that there's sharing, I mean, the legal side of sharing that kind of documentation out wider through the company is so important, isn't it? To make sure you don't drop a ball when it comes to that kind of stuff. So what are the key advantages to kind of using you guys, and where do people win mainly?
Yeah, great question. Obviously, you need to be compliant. There's financial penalties involved if someone rocks up, you don't have your records up to date. That's the most obvious one.
Yeah,
it's a massive time saver as well. So in addition to just digitizing records, making sure you're compliant across the network, it is a time saver, especially things like the food prep label system, the temperature monitoring system. This literally replaces humans. So there's little sensors, 5-year battery life. They're all HACCP compliant sensors that you put them in all your fridges and freezers. There's a collector unit that sits somewhere centrally in the restaurant. That's got a battery backup, and it's usually connected via 4G, so separate to your restaurant's Wi-Fi. So it does two things. It basically automates it, removes humans. Like every 15 minutes, it's taking a temperature reading, and you can just export a report whenever you need. But then also, it's a stock loss preventative measure as well. So your power goes offline, which doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. We can SMS you saying your freezers are offline, and people can go in and save stock, which we've got, customer stories thanking us.
I bet. Yeah, I mean, literally, you say it doesn't happen a lot. Actually, I had one. It always happened on a Friday in my job. Always on a Friday. Always like on a Friday afternoon, a freezer would go down, and often you don't see it, right? Because they're in service, they're busy, and they're not checking like that. So that kind of thing's amazing.
Well, one of our customers actually, they operate remote mining villages across Australia. So they're literally in outback Australia in the middle of nowhere. And so, power outages is actually more frequent than, than you would think. So that automated temperature monitoring system is one of the solutions we've implemented for them. And it just, every 15 minutes takes a reading, export it when you need it. Power goes off, we can send SMS alerts, and that works really, really well for that customer.
And also for chefs are creative, right? They love doing what they do. They love cooking and they love creating beautiful food. Sometimes doing all the other stuff that they have to do, they hate it. They hate it.
That's
so you're
right.
automating stuff.
I mean, as an executive chef, you've got so many responsibilities.
Yeah.
And it's not just food. It's all this other boring stuff, which you really need to be on top of. So that's why, implementing a system like this can try and remove the headache for, most of the leads that come through are executive chefs. They're searching for solutions, and operations people. So we're working directly with these types of people, but it's basically trying to solve the headaches that they have is what we're doing.
That's brilliant. I love it. And you mentioned the quizzes before. Actually, I'm quite interested because I was talking to an operator the other day, and they said they'd seen like a higher engagement. They started changing the way they were kind of trying to engage their troops to kind of let alone, there was a stat 13% were using this LMS system, but only 13% logged in. And I was like, wow. And they were saying it was really struggle, but they've moved to these quizzes and it's actually improved engagement. People are kind of enjoying it more. Scores have gone up. Are you seeing the same thing?
100%. Yeah, I was just visiting a customer today. They basically run a chain of ice cream stores. There's probably, I think there's about 85 of them now across Australia. It's regional based ice cream stores. And they were literally talking about how much their training compliance had improved since they moved to our system. They did have a digital learning solution before they implemented our tool, but I guess it's just that I touched on it before around that mobile first content, and so they've got really custom, unique content with engaging videos.
Who does that? Do you guys do that, or is it a joint thing you kind of work together on?
It's usually bring your own content. So we just provide the software, and you can kind of use our drag and drop sort of module and course creation tool, build your own courses. So you've got to bring your own videos and content. We've got some basic templates, but obviously with training, it's so unique and specific to the brand that actually do it. That works better when you bring your own. So they've got, they filmed all the content. It's really engaging, quite funny as well. It's all, and all of these, they've got really high compliance rates on training. But also just the quality of the employee when they start their shift, because they know that they've done that training, and there's an automated reminder system. Franchisees are getting notified when people haven't done the training they're meant to do before their first shift. So the people are coming to their first few shifts, and they've got that level of knowledge that they kind of didn't have previously, and it was more on the job learning. So we're kind of doing a lot of that up front, which automates it. But training is pretty simple when you think about it. We need to show the employee some content, whether it's video or text or whatever it is, where they need to basically prove to us that they've read and acknowledged the content. And, that can be usually quizzes or other engaging responses. And then we need to save a record of that completion against their profile. So we've looked at it through those lens where training's pretty simple. Let's keep it simple. Obviously there's, advanced feature requests and things like that, which we've implemented. But that's the lens that we've looked at training through. And I think that's why people enjoy using the system. Yeah,
I think it's interesting because you think of like manufacturing. I had a brief stint in manufacturing where you wouldn't go near a factory line or a food factory line without, all your training complete, anything like that. And hospitality is one of those industries where you can kind of shimmy your way onto a bar and not know anything and still get to serve a customer, which is quite frightening, right? So I think
it is.
If you're helping change that, that's huge, because I think it's obviously the bigger brands have more resource and work really hard at getting that right. But I think where you can really support are those people that don't have that resource, and you can use them to build that structure around what they do.
Yeah, 100% agree. That's what, and and we just want to keep making that better and better and easier and easier.
You'll be responsible for people getting the correct cocktails. That'd be amazing. I used to make them up every day. I just pour whatever in, never come to my bar. And you mentioned the ice cream company there. Have you got any other? I love hearing about customers that have helped build product. Have you got anyone else who's kind of taken part and really helped you kind of build the product up?
Yeah, I mean, probably the biggest one is actually they're called Lucas Groups, Lucas Group restaurants, and they operate really high-end restaurants across Melbourne and Sydney in Australia. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. Some of the brands are Chin Chin, which is really famous.
Chin Chin, yeah.
So they've got Chin Chin Melbourne, Chin Chin Sydney, and we worked really closely with one of their operations managers to basically build out a whole bunch of food safety functionality. So he gave us, and still does, it gives us really detailed feedback and ideas around, some of the food safety functionality we've built in recently is pretty high end. We can manage hot holding, cooling processes. We've even got Bluetooth thermometers, so you could actually take a temperature reading of a product that will populate the app with a live core temperature reading. And based on what you're measuring, if it's a piece of chicken, we'll know what the expected range is. If the temperature falls outside that range, we can force a corrective action, which is then managed in the system as well, which is a food safety protocol.
That's insane.
So really helped us. Food safety, some businesses keep it simple, but someone like Lucas, there's sort of high risk foods with some of the menu items they have.
Yeah, I think working in fresh food businesses, as I did most of my career, actually, you're all over that, or you need to be. I think you need that feature in there for those kind of people. Exactly, but that's a great example.
Exactly. So that's one really good example. And I suppose another one right now, we're working with one of Australia's sort of biggest venue owners. They own and operate about 250 pubs across Australia and New Zealand. And so we've been working with them for some time, and we're now just basically implementing our end-to-end solution across all of their network, which is pretty exciting for us. Wow. It's a big project, training, implementing the solution, and rolling it out with software, and then adding some of the hardware components as well. So some really great ideas from their team as well, which we've added to the roadmap. And the best thing about this is people request stuff, we'll add it to the system, but it's available to all of our customers.
Right, so a new feature launches and it's not just for Chin Chin, it's potentially for
it's for everyone. And that's Jim that runs a fish and chip shop, or single site operators. Everyone gets access to the entire suite of functionality. We do have different pricing packages and models and things, but most people get access to all that sort of stuff. So
that's what I love about tech at the moment. You've got that enterprise tech that's available for SME, right? You've got small businesses that can access tech that a 250 pub chain might use. I think it's fantastic.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we have. We've literally got people, single site operators using the exact same thing as, 250 pub group. It's exciting. We love working on this, and adding more and more functionality and features based on what people are asking for. Excited to just keep doing that and expanding.
Love it. And I suppose, we will have to talk about the future. That's the thing you do at the end of the podcast, isn't it? You always ask about the future. What is that? I know you guys are shuffling around, looking at, you're in the UK in the sense that your product is available in the UK. How are you kind of building out your strategy for global domination?
Yeah, great. Well, look, we're rapidly growing in USA. So that's most of our revenue now, probably 50, 60% of our revenues from America. So we're about to just get some full-time resource in America now, basically sales and customer support. We're excited to basically announce that we're expanding to the UK as well. So obviously
Awesome.
time difference is hard. So one of the things that we've implemented as a starting point is support. So obviously we understand, especially for our larger customers, we really need to have that. That's one thing we're really big on, is that really high quality level of customer support. So we've basically built out a function where we can cater for the UK time zone from a support perspective as well. So the strategy is basically, see if we can sign up some awesome customers in the UK. We've got a handful, but it hasn't really been a strategy until now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was talking to the director of IT at Wagamama on a panel last week, and I asked him where support sat in his, when he was buying tech, how high that would be. He's like, number one. He said the 100%. Product, he said tech is great now. You know, a lot of people got great product. He said that, you know, that's fantastic because the ability that it can reach. But he said the biggest thing for us is, can you help us on a Friday night? You know, can you switch us back on when, because things are going to break.
And the thing with hospitality, it's not just Monday to Friday, it's weekends. So you know, we need to have 7-day support, especially for our larger customers. That's when, you know, 90% of their trade is, it's over the weekend. So that's when we need to be available. You know, at the end of the day, it's a pretty simple product. It's not like a point of sale where if it breaks, it's going to impact revenue. But we still understand it's really important. So we've built out those functions where we can be responsive. You know, respond to someone in less than an hour is a goal of ours. We've got customers in probably 15 countries, and so that's the goal we try to apply to customers in all of our operating countries.
Love it. And if people want to reach out to you and find out more about yourself, David, and the product, how do they get hold of you? What's the best way to grab you?
The best way, just the website, Operandio. So Operandio.com. Request a demo. We can give you a free demo of the product. Get in touch. We can, happy to chat if you're interested. You don't have to go big. If you're a multi-unit restaurant, you can start with 1 or 2 sites, assess the platform, and expand from there. And we basically price per location per month. So it's super scalable, works for single sites, works for some of our customers with hundreds and hundreds of sites. So get in touch and happy to have a chat.
Well, it's interesting. And by the time this goes out in a few weeks, actually, our new marketplace will be launched, and you guys will be on the front of that as well. So we're relaunching,
awesome.
We're rebuilding the whole thing. So it's chaos.
We're really, really excited about the UK because we've got a lot of the food safety sort of protocols and practices are really similar to Australia, especially Victoria, which is really strict, stringent requirements for businesses.
I remember from the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. So so we're really excited about the opportunities over there in the UK.
It's great. Well, look, I appreciate you because you're 8 o'clock, I think 8 p.m. over your time, or 8:30 as it might be now. Are you off home now, or is that it for the day?
Yeah, no, that's it for the day, and then probably early morning with the American customers tomorrow as well. So.
I forgot to ask, how did America happen? Was it just something? Did you get one customer, then it just grew from there, or?
Pretty much, it grew. You know, and then you start getting a few reference case study customers, word of mouth. And look, we've been actively sort of targeting America and Australia, and we haven't really done the UK purely because of the time difference. It's literally the opposite. At least with America, we can get sort of 4 or 5 hours of their day. UK is literally the opposite. So
we are a problem, mate.
Yes, we haven't been able to, but we've sort of got a function now where it sort of makes sense for us to do it. We've got the support in place, so it's kind of see how we go.
Well, look, lovely to speak to you, David. Thank you very much for coming on. And if you need to find David, you'll find him on the marketplace there when we relaunch in a few weeks. Actually, he'll be on the front cover there. And as he's mentioned, what was the website again? Sorry, before I let you go.
Operandio.com.
Operandio.com. Perfect, mate. Thanks very much for your time, and we shall see you soon.
Chat soon. See you.